your seatbelts and prepare for takeoff. We will be arriving in 6 hours and 58 minutes, so sit back and enjoy the ride, okay?
Hell yeah, I like to travel. I like to travel, but I don't got a plan. Catch me rolling through your city, yeah. Got my toes in the sand.
I think I got some wanderlust, but I don't give a damn.
7-footers.
You know, it's funny that the podcast is a auditory medium. However, we also do video, and you're like, ain't nobody putting that up on IG Live. little inside humor there, folks. This is what happens. This is what we discuss before we get on the pod. All sorts of ridiculous things.
Literally, we're supposed to have a 10 seconds of silence before we start just to kind of get the vibe going and help our producers function everything. And I'm over here just like, Jarod, I have no makeup on. I look so ugly. And he's just trying not to laugh in the microphone. It's great.
Oh, my God.
It's epic.
This is what we just have fun, man. This is what it's all about.
Facts, Jarod, facts. And let's get to the facts, okay?
Yeah, what kind of facts are we going to get into today?
Oh, we are getting into the internet pretty much blowing up over load management. You know what? I never in my life thought I would have so much in common with NBA players, but load management.
Yo, I need some load management in my life, for real.
Same here. I mean, why? I wish my boss would hit me up and be like, yo, we got her on load management.
She worked all over the weekend and did the Oscars, so she's gonna be off on Tuesday.
Yeah, you know what? Instead of a 5-day work week, let's give you 4. Load management on this girl. Okay. Obviously, you guys, if you're big NBA fans, if you've been in the conversation online on Twitter, you will know that Kawhi Leonard and his load management with the Clippers came into question so much by fans and around the league that the league itself had to come out with a statement proving as to why Kawhi Leonard can rest, although he's been, rested.
Right.
And I think pretty much the topic at hand, there was a lot of buzz online about he's been sitting out for a lot of nationally televised games. So the league puts out a statement, quote, Kawhi Leonard is not a healthy player under the league's resting policy and as such is listed as managing a knee injury in the LA Clippers injury report, Mike Bass told ESPN. End quote. And then it starts again. The league office, in consultation with the NBA's director of sports medicine, is comfortable with the team's medical staff's determination that Leonard is not sufficiently healthy to play in back-to-back games at this time. So there it is, the proof that Kawhi Leonard could rest. And I want to get your thoughts about load management because I feel as though the conversation is really, I could see both sides. And I feel like days of these guys wanting to play a lot of games, 82 games, is over now.
It's so interesting, right? Because you have so many different sides to this story, right? First, you have the former players coming out going, well, back in my day, blah, 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 blah. You have that.
Michael Jordan.
Right.
He said you're being paid to play 82 games.
Right. You got fans who are coming out being like, well, boo-hoo, we paid money for tickets. We want to see Kawhi.
Yeah.
Then you have teams who are like, look, man, our end game isn't winning a regular season game on November whatever against whomever. We're trying to win the chip. So we want to preserve our best player so that he is at his peak performance when it matters the most.
Yeah.
The reality of the situation is that the NBA season is just too long. All right? 82 games is too long of a season.
I saw your tweets about this earlier.
Well, because
you felt a way.
Listen, I felt some kind of way. And I do. And look, I am a person who believes in evidence and science and things that I see with my eye.
Very much Daryl Morey type.
Well, yep, except for the fact that I understand that this is a people business, right?
That's right.
That's what I understand.
That's right.
So
You're
that
better.
stuff matters, right? Daryl doesn't get that part of the business, right?
Doesn't.
It's still about people.
The analytical side.
Exactly. So, yes, in an ideal world, it would be great if these players played 82 games, no one ever got injured, everyone played 100% every game, all out, blah, blah, blah. Sure, that would be perfect and awesome, but we don't live in that world. And the idea that, first, let me talk about the former players. This idea that back in my day, we played all 82 games, okay, in a vacuum, that is true. There was no load management, so they played all 82 games.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts or close to.
Yeah.
I challenge anybody to turn on a regular season game from 1984 or 1994 and watch. They're on YouTube, so you can find them.
Hey.
Watch in its entirety Tell me what's going on in that game. Guys playing 100% out, all hard effort, all those games? Absolutely not.
No.
So I have to ask you, which is worse? Haphazardly lollygagging, loafing during a game because you're just tired versus I'm just not going to suit up at all. What's the difference? Right?
Exactly.
The reason why you're not giving max effort is because you're like, I physically cannot do that. So why bother showing up, giving partial effort versus sitting? What is the difference? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I want to play some audio from Doris Burke, who I love, one of ESPN's great analysts.
The GOAT.
She talks about what she believes is a problem that the NBA is facing right now. And I think, there's some validity to what she says. So let's listen to Doris.
Except for the second time this season already, Doris, we have Kawhi sitting out because of, air quotes, load management issues on that knee. I thought there was supposed to be a rule against this.
Listen, I'm going to preface my remarks by saying, obviously, I work for a company that has a vested interest in their stars hitting the floor when we have them. It is mind-boggling to me that Kawhi doesn't want to play against the reigning MVP, and he'd rather play against Portland tomorrow night on TNT. And I believe the league has a long-term problem. When it pinches them, I don't know. But Kawhi not playing, to me, is ridiculous at this point. I don't understand it. He is a great player. He is compelling to watch. If you've watched any of his games, he's been absolutely brilliant in the fourth quarter and won them a ton of games. And the Clippers obviously have a responsibility to Kawhi and to winning and to long term. But the league also, I believe, is and should be concerned that their best players are not playing on nights when they're on national television. The NBA ratings took a hit last year. People tune in. We know this for a fact, guys. The league, people tune in because they want to see the stars who are so compelling. There are a few players who are this compelling at this stage in their career. Giannis, obviously. LeBron remains that guy. But Kawhi not playing tonight, yes, I'm not there tonight, but I am disappointed for my colleagues, and I'm disappointed for the fans. And when this pinches the NBA, I do not know. But to me, the league has a problem.
So this is interesting, and we just have some breaking news, Jenna, from The Athletic Shams Sharana, if you want to read that.
Yes, it just came in. This is being recorded right now, November 7th, and 6:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It comes in from Shams, as you said, and, quote, the Los Angeles Clippers have been fined $50,000 for statements that were inconsistent with Kawhi Leonard's health status. The NBA statement on Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers was what I just read prior to this new revelation.
So, okay.
Okay, now
we got a lot. we got a lot to unpack here.
We
right?
just prepped for this conversation, and now we get hit with this.
Well, no, but you know what? It's perfect, and we can do that because that's the beauty of when live information comes in, we can adjust.
Of course. So, what are your thoughts?
So, what the NBA is being fined, or the NBA, what the Clippers are being fined for is because Doc Rivers, in his comments yesterday, said this is not a health issue. He said Kawhi's feeling good. We want to keep him feeling good. So that was the inconsistency in the statements.
Yes.
And again, if you're the Clippers PR team, and how is Doc not prepared to go out and say what the situation is
when this has been a viral topic of conversation?
And ultimately, this is what the problem is that's happening right now with what people are coming out and saying about Kawhi not playing. Is it just rest? Is he actually injured? No one really knows. From what the Clippers are saying, it is a chronic knee injury that they are managing, right? The idea is, has Kawhi been healthy over the past 2 seasons? Remember, he didn't play almost an entire season with San Antonio from that original injury, which he believed that the Spurs misdiagnosed.
9
right?
games.
And when he was in Toronto last season, didn't play any back-to-backs and load manage because when the playoffs came, he played heavy minutes and carried them to a title. But you could
especially in the fourth, as Doris said.
He was laboring, right, in many of those games.
Well, he was limping after they won the chip, and he said, I can finally, walk and limp now and not show you people that
So the question is,
I'm hurt. What
level of injury is Kawhi having right now? Okay. So some things that Doris said that I thought was interesting. And I don't want to put words in her mouth, but the fact when she questioned and she's like, I don't understand why Kawhi wouldn't want to play the reigning MVP and instead opted to play tomorrow night, which is tonight, against the Portland Trailblazers. To me, is she questioning his competitiveness? Like,
It was an interesting quote.
Right? Like, I don't think of I mean, if you watch Kawhi play, one thing you can't ever say about him is he's not competitive.
Yeah.
That guy is very competitive. And he is playing a national televised game. Tonight is a national broadcast on TNT versus the Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, right? Like, yeah, it's not Giannis, which I'm sure ESPN would have loved to see, but guess what? By the way, for everyone yelling up from atop their hill about load management, that was a compelling game last night, by the way, without Kawhi, right? Like, the Clippers could have won that game, right?
I'm all for Kawhi, and they could have won it, but, I mean, Giannis stole the show.
Giannis did his thing, but the point being is that, and this is where I agree with Doras, where she says the NBA has a problem. Look, we don't often credit the NFL for anything on this podcast because we have our issues with that league.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that league does that I think in the long run benefits them more than the NBA does.
What is that?
Which is the NFL does not market its star players. I mean, yeah, you know who quarterbacks are, you know who OBJ is, you know who Tom Brady is, you know who certain guys are, but the league doesn't push them as the main attraction. The main attraction that they push is the actual game itself, right? That is what you tune in for. And in a sport where injuries are extremely high, like football, look, when Saquon Barkley got hurt in Week 3 against the Giants, ratings didn't go down for any of the Giants games. People tuned in anyway because they want to watch football. Now, there are inherent advantages that football has over the NBA. One, a shortened season. So by nature, every game is that much more important because there are only 16 of them. You lose 4 in a row in the NFL, you're probably not making the playoffs, right? Like, that's just how that goes.
Yeah.
Whereas in the NBA, I got 82 games to figure my situation out.
Exactly.
2, again, as I mentioned, they're not promoting stars. It's the game. The NBA since the 80s, since Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, it was about stars and star players. That's who they promote. So when the marquee doesn't have one of the game's big stars, it's a problem. But that's where we are right now, and that's where this league is. And I don't know how Adam Silver changes it. The other thing, back to the length of time and the length of the season. 82 games is too much. Not only that, the season has started earlier than it started in the past few years.
Yes.
Training camp has gotten cut down. Training camp used to be almost a month. It is barely 2 weeks now.
Right.
Couple that in with the NBA's globalization and teams flying over to Asia and India to do things, and they're not actually conditioning and playing. And you're packing in the same amount of games.
Not to mention, it seems as though going off of that, there is really no summer break for these guys.
No.
I mean, it may be a week or two, but before they get into, like you said, flying overseas, playing there, doing things like that. And the thing is, we're seeing more and more that the NBA is a 3-6-5 sport. It is. I love it. I'm so happy. But that doesn't mean we pound on these guys 3-6-5.
Yeah.
That means we cover it. We do the shows. We do everything. We do the social media, the lifestyle in the summer and things like that. But I agree. It's too much. It's too much.
And I think, again, with the deals that they have, these guys have with their shoe companies, they got to go to Asia for 6 weeks in the summer. If they're playing on any summer Olympic teams or World Championship teams, they've got Team USA commitments in the summertime. The way in which you improve and get better over time physically, obviously, is working on your craft. But the number one thing that people don't like to talk about is rest and recovery.
Yes.
Letting your body have a chance to let those muscles heal so you can come back and add on and do more, right? Without time to do that, this is a problem. And this is where the load management comes in. Look, the ideal number of games would be 65. But back to the old calendar where the first game of the season didn't start till Halloween, November 1st, right? So you'd have a full month of October training camp to get ready. And if you ran 65 games over the same course of the season as you run right now, there'll be no back-to-backs for the most part, right? You can eliminate that. The problem with back-to-backs that cause issues is the arena availabilities, right? Because these arenas don't just don't just house basketball teams. A lot of them double as hockey arenas. They also double as concert venues. They double as a variety of things. So it's about figuring out scheduling so that teams can have somewhere to play, right? These are all things that are involved in figuring this out. And everyone who sits at home on their couch like, I got to go to work every day. Listen, you people call out when you got a cold, so stop. All right? Like, just stop the foolishness.
Yeah.
Like, everyone does these things. And it's just because there are athletes that make millions of dollars doesn't mean they don't need rest and recovery and or sick days.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 65 would be the ideal in that length of season that I mentioned. Of course, the problem with that is that's eliminating revenue, which would mean the BRI, basketball-related income, that pie would get shrunk, which means less money for the owners, which means less money for the players. Who is going to sign up for, I'm going to take less money and raise their hand? Probably nobody, right?
Exactly.
So until there's some kind of mandated rule that this is what we're going to do, we are where we are. And I want to read these quotes that Jalen Rose has about on Twitter that he said about load management. After today, load management will still happen, but use of the term will dwindle in 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, days of players wanting to play 82 is over. Schedule could be 76, 66, or 56 games. Players would still rest. Playing nightly is not a source of pride anymore, since critics decided to judge by analytics and rings. Feel free to paraphrase and take as your own. There's some truth there, and there's some not truth there. I agree with Jalen. Look, at the end of the day, the star players will still dictate what they want to do. By the way, newsflash, in every industry in the world, the top performing people get to decide what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Them's be the rules. I don't know how else to explain it. If you are the best in your field, guess what? You get special perks and privileges. You ain't, you don't.
It's life.
That's just how it goes.
Life is a hierarchy, and this is it too.
That's how it goes, man. I don't know what to tell you.
What I will say is I do hope that we are not forced to witness or endure a terrible, terrible injury to a player, and then the rule gets placed in, or potentially they lessen the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want it to come to the end of the rope. And let me just interrupt this really quick, because I'm on Twitter following this new news.
Live as it's happening.
Yes, and Shams added, quote, NBA statement on Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, in part, it is a patella tendon that he has injured still, so he's in that protocol. And then we have Woj, and it says the NBA, like you suggested before, they've accepted the Clippers' medical determination that Kawhi Leonard is injured. They clearly fined the team and Rivers for his statement.
Yes.
So you were right.
It was Doc.
It was for his contradicting statement.
Doc said that it's not about health. Kawhi's feeling good.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what?
All right. And you know what? This goes back to the conversation that you and I had about, it was recent. I can't put my thumb on it right now. But anyway, it was about these guys going out here. Oh, it was LeBron James and the China situation.
Yeah.
These guys going out here, you know shit has hit the fan.
The question's coming, dude.
Why aren't you prepared? Literally, where is your PR team? I know they're making great money, and I think it's great, but what are you doing? Tell the coach what to say. What to say.
Doc, all you got to say is Kawhi's managing a knee injury, as you guys all know, that he suffered a few years back, and we want to make sure that he's performing at his optimum capability. So that is still a situation we're monitoring. And at this point and this stage, he is not ready to play on back-to-back nights.
Exactly. That's it.
Easy peasy.
That's all you got to do. Now he's 50,000 in the hole. Not that it matters.
Again,
but
whatever. But it's just mind-boggling, and so that's where a lot of people are figuring out, well, how injured is he? What's the situation?
And you get the buzzes and the rumors,
and then everybody pulls
from
a quote and says this and says that. Look, again, I do want to go back and address the former player situation. We got to stop this back in my day nonsense.
I am so sick of it. Back in your day, it's back then because it's not now.
Happened already.
Exactly.
And again, I challenge anyone. Go watch a full game from 84, 94, whenever. I don't care. Heck, go even watch them in playoff games. All you see are clips of, ooh, that guy got clothesline. They're playing tough defense. That didn't happen every single play. Like, watch the full game and then tell me, you know what? It ain't like it's not like that, okay?
Exactly.
But we love to romanticize things and not evolve and change. Look, and I get it. Change is hard. No one likes it. It's a difficult thing. But these guys are bigger, stronger, faster. The way in which, with the advent of the three-point shot, guys are having to cover much more ground much quicker. It's putting much more stress on the joints. Not to mention, players are coming into the league with more wear and tear on their bodies from playing all that AAU ball when they're younger, right? It's cumulative. And when you look at it, and there are guys around the league, players in and around the league and media people who don't believe in the data that rest and recovery helps performance. Okay, if you don't believe that, that's on you for not understanding science. What is unequivocally true, and if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you, the more you participate in an activity at a frequent rate, the higher the likelihood of risk of injury you're going to suffer. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's just what it is. That's just a fact.
It is what it is.
Right? So, I mean, yes, that is a fact. And when your body has not had sufficient time to recover, you increase the likelihood of further injury or injury.
Yes.
And we don't got to go far to look. What happened in the NBA Finals that we just saw? We just saw it.
Exactly. Warriors dropping like flies, and
even out of the finals, DeMarcus Cousins, right? He ruptured his Achilles a year ago. Came back, right? Wasn't fully ready and had the proper recovery and strengthening. So what happens? Muscles around overcompensate for the weakened, injured area. He blows out his quad. Like, people, it happens every day in front of your face. I don't believe in rest and recovery. Like, what?
Okay. That's like saying I don't need sleep to function. Yes, you do. Like, it is science. Go to bed.
It's crazy. Like, yeah. Can you do things on no sleep? Sure. Is it optimal? No. Like, and again, try to do that multiple nights in a row, performing at the highest possible level.
Yes.
Not possible. So anyway, that's where I am with this idea about load management. Look, on the one hand, look, I have some people like, oh, do you feel for the fans? Look.
Listen, here's what I have to say about that, too. And believe me, I get the whole, I bought tickets for my kids and this and that. Great. That's great. Why don't you focus on the experience with your kids and enjoy it? Second of all, let me say something to all y'all about there with the fans and this and that. And I'll probably get some backlash for this, but what are you going to do?
It is what it is.
You buy the tickets to see your team, your guys. You're their biggest fan. Do you want your team to win a chip? Then this is what we need to do. It's called a marathon, kids, not a sprint.
82-game season, man.
Not to mention, say your guy does play that game, and it's great, but they never make the playoffs. Let's just say, for example, some of the, like the Phoenix Suns. Or, some people.
Well, the Phoenix playing well this year.
They are. Not going to lie. Might be that new arena they're building. Got that new vibe going. But for real. And then they never make the playoffs. It's another double-edged sword. Oh, we suck, this and that. Well, maybe if you let us have some damn load management out here.
To me, the what about the kids argument is the least compelling to me.
Exactly.
Why don't you teach your kid that what's important is actually this exciting basketball contest that is on the floor.
Not to mention, yes,
right.
These men out here that are getting a chance to play, maybe second unit guys.
Exactly. Yes, I'm sorry Kawhi's not playing, but again, if you stayed up and watched that game last night, that was a hell of a basketball game.
So good.
So again, it is what it is. We're going to move on. I don't have a problem with load management. It's what it is.
I don't either. I have no problem with it. So let's move on to another poor note for the Atlanta Hawks, who are doing very well this season and just lost a guy.
Yeah.
And they might go back into a slump because Atlanta forward John Collins has been suspended 25 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. This seems to be a little bit of a trend, which I will get to later. Surprise, surprise. And what was it, Jarod? It was a growth hormone, releasing peptide 2. So it was a human growth hormone.
Which, by the way, since we were just talking about recovery, you know what HGH helps with people? Recovery.
There you go. R word. Now, Collins almost immediately put out a statement to ESPN, and he said, "First, I want to apologize to my teammates, the Hawks organization, our fans, partners, and community as a whole for this situation. I understand the impact this matter has on what we are trying to do and achieve together this season, and I am incredibly frustrated and disappointed in myself for putting us all in this position. I've always been incredibly careful about what I put in my body, but I took a supplement which, unbeknownst to me, had been contaminated with an illegal component. I plan to appeal my suspension." That statement came via Woj. What do you think, Jarod?
Listen, man, this dog ain't my homework excuse. Come on now. Like that's like my Twitter account got hacked. Like, all right, man. Like we gotta come up with some better ones than that.
Oh man. And you know what? This was the return of John Collins this season, and now this happens. 25 games.
And I was looking forward to seeing what John Collins is going to do.
Exactly.
And it's a shame. The question I have to ask is, putting aside whether you believe him or not or whatever, What are you putting into your body, John? That for what purpose? Is this about recovery? Is this about getting it? What is it?
Yeah.
And again, we're never going to get the full answers to those questions, but this is what's happening right now, and I think we have potentially, without getting too crazy, this is something that we should monitor and keep an eye on with what's going on.
I
in the
agree
league.
Because I guess I'm not too much into the know with, the medical staff and that side of the NBA, but you're monitoring these players, you're around them day to day, this medical staff and this training staff. Not that they have to, tell you every time they go to the bathroom or something, but shouldn't you know what you're putting in your body, or shouldn't you be consulting with somebody? You know what I mean?
Well,
it should be a little bit less, I don't want to use the word shady, but
that's the big thing,
people should know what's going on.
These guys are meticulous about what they put in their body. That's why this whole, I didn't know, I'm like, come on, Playboy.
And we're hearing that excuse a lot these days.
You ain't fooling me with that nonsense, right?
Yeah.
So, again, the question is why?
Yeah. What is the reason you use
What's going on that
this?
you feel like you need to be doing this?
And he's a young guy.
Yeah. Is it about rest and recovery?
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm speculating, but
No,
that's the sort of thing that I would want to know.
And you know what? There's nothing we can do but speculate, because that statement is a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and
so what's going on?
And John is not going to answer questions about it when we have an opportunity to speak to him or anything like that. Like the Hawks will, he won't be answering questions like that, But I'd love to just sit down with these guys, off the record and be like, what is it hard to really do this? Like, I mean, I know it's hard, but what is the physical toll it takes on your body to do this?
Did you truly need to put that, whatever you did, and put
night
that in your
after
body?
night, prep, play? I can imagine, but I want to hear it from them, what kind of physical toll it takes on their bodies to do this sort of thing.
The thing I also don't understand is, why are so many guys getting caught doing this when that's what the medical staff is for? You go to them and you say, hey, what can I do? I have this. I need this. This is hurting. I need to fix whatever or recover.
Yeah.
Are these guys – the question I have is, are these guys stepping outside of the medical staff?
Well, oftentimes, yes. They have their own training team and performance people that they work with.
Even so, aside from even the outside people, are they going on their own and grabbing things or doing things and,
Look, just like any other sport, the NBA, basketball, NFL, whatever, this is a competitive league.
Yeah.
You're not competitive. You have to be as an individual to play in these leagues. You have to be an ultra competitor. And what are guys always looking for in women who play professional sports? You want a competitive edge. What's going to get me a leg up on this girl, this guy? And listen, these athletes trade and make their living on their body. That is how they provide for themselves and their families. Well, I mean, wouldn't it behoove them? I mean, it sounds logical to me. They're going to try to do whatever they can to get themselves to perform at the best possible level to make the most possible money. This is just common sense to me. Again, root cause, right? Let's examine what are the reasons behind this. What is happening? Is it strictly just I just want to get a leg up, or is it look, man, to do this at the level I need to do it at? Anyone needs to do it. I need to do something that allows me to recover more or what have you. And these are questions we have to start asking ourselves. With the size and the strength that these players are playing at now and the torque and force with which they play, it takes a toll on the body.
And not to mention, that goes back to load management too. Did John feel the need he needed this to recover more and he didn't want to sit out? Now you're sitting 25 games, bro.
Well, yeah.
So he'll get that rest and relaxation in.
Getting plenty of rest now.
Now, going off of John Collins, I am going to kick off our favorite...
America's #1 segment,
That's
What's
right.
Up With?
Yes. And going off of that, my first What's Up With is what's up with player suspensions. We've seen a few in a very short time due to, obviously, violating the drug policy.
Right.
So... since late August, we've had 3 now. August, Brooklyn Nets forward Wilson Chandler, he tested positive for Lamorlian?
Linoleum?
Literally, yep, he's got some floor in him.
Linoleum.
I don't know what it was. But yeah, Wilson Chandler tested positive. What was that word we were just talking about? We just went over it.
That is Lapermelon.
Lapermelon, yes. Okay. Another sort of growth hormone.
Right.
And late October, then we have Hawks center DeAndre Ayton tested positive for diuretic. So another guy on the Hawks. And now we have John Collins. So it's becoming more frequent that these guys are getting caught for PEDs and different types of drug violations within the NBA.
Right.
And I'm saying what's up with that because of the whole conversation we just had. This is ridiculous now. And these guys are getting significant time out, which, hey, you violated a policy. You got to pay the time.
That's a quarter of the season.
Exactly.
More than a quarter of the season.
And like we said, especially with Collins, he just came back. Man, come on. Like, what is up?
This is something that the league's going to have to pay attention to.
You got to monitor it even more closely.
The NBA, it's so funny because we talk about what a great state the league is in, and it is, right? I mean, great young talent.
Doesn't mean there's no room for improvement, though.
It doesn't mean that Adam Silver is entering among the more challenging periods of his early tenure as league commissioner, right? We had the whole China situation to kick off the league, the season. Yeah. We're now having these players popped with human growth hormone. I mean, it's 3, but, and now the load management situation.
Now,
I trust in Adam and in the league, but, these are things that the critics of the league will use to point to, condemn and banish the league. And, of course, we don't want to see that happen. So I want to see, the league doing the best that it can. It's right by all parties involved.
Absolutely. I mean, whether it's more frequent drug testing, whether it's rewriting kind of the rule book here, I mean, they're going to have to address it if this keeps happening. And that's why I chose this for my first What's Up With, because it's happening a lot. It's a pattern. It's a trend. And hopefully it stops. And none of these guys severely, damage their bodies or anything going on,
Makes sense.
Absolutely. You're up.
All right. My first What's Up With. What is up with the Brooklyn Nets defense?
Woo!
Not good. They averaged the most turnovers per game in the league at 20. Opponents scored 20 points per game off of the Nets turnovers. And they're bottom third of the league in defensive efficiency. They're just not good on that end of the floor right now.
No, offense great, but come on.
And look, got to keep it 100. A lot of that starts at the point of attack. That's your man Kyrie. Like, and look, and he is not the only problem, but the Nets are like turnstiles out here right now defensively, and they've got to do a better job with that. Got to.
Exactly.
And look, it's early, but you know what, Jenna? We keep saying that. At some point, it's gonna stop being early, right?
We're not gonna be able to say it.
8 games is gonna turn into 10. 10 is gonna turn into 20. 20 games is a quarter of the season. So if we're having the same conversations, and as crazy as this sounds, Thanksgiving is what, 2 weeks away. 2-3 weeks away.
And you got the Christmas games.
If we are having this same conversation come Christmas, we got some problems.
Amen to that. The Nets definitely have some growing pains to work through, and they definitely need to turn things around. I mean, like we said, there's only so many times we can use the excuse, they're getting their feet wet, new roster, blah, 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 this and that.
And that's all true statements. I want to be fair.
Of course,
it's true.
Right now.
But, we want to start seeing some things happen and some habits building and some good, positive things to build off. And to be fair, the Nets are putting together quarters where they're playing well defensively. They're not able to put it together for an entire game.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, moving on. My next What's Up With is a little bit of what's up with my pick for a conference run in the East, the 76ers. I say this because I'm asking you, Jarod, are the 76ers already injury prone, or is it too early? We just heard Ben Simmons is sidelined with a shoulder sprain, AC joint in his right shoulder. He's down tonight, November 7th. And he was just talking in a presser post-practice where he said, I'm so excited. The chemistry is going to come back when we get JoJo back from his ankle sprain. And now we got Simmons out. So is it too early? Are we worried about the Sixers? We did say before the season that injury was going to be a big deal with them.
Well, look, you look at any team that wins the title, right? They have to have exceptional injury luck, right? Because if you lose any of your main guys.
Warriors last season.
You see what happens, right? So any team that wins titles, they manage to have good injury luck. Sometimes you get bad injury luck.
Very true.
The question is, can your team sustain while guys are out? Of course, you prefer to have injuries happen early in the season rather than middle or late. So maybe these are just tiny little nicks and knacks. But, I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about at the moment. But, again, Injury luck is a factor in ultimately winning it all.
All I'll say is, I was just a little concerned to hear that it was the shoulder. I mean, my guy just got a shot down. And
I mean, did he get a shot down?
Hey.
I mean, he hasn't really been shooting, so I don't really know.
You see this? You see this right here? Goddamn shame.
Did he get a shot?
It's a goddamn shame.
All right. What is up, Jenna, with Nikola Jokic? Well, here's the thing.
Your guy.
Yep, I love Jokic, but he's looking a little doughy and kind of out of shape.
Ooh.
Now, granted, Jokic always kind of had that doughy look, but I feel like this season, I'm like, my man, what were you doing in the offseason?
Is it affecting him on the floor?
They're starting a little slower than I would like. He's starting a little slower than I would like.
Okay.
He did play World Championship basketball, so I'm like, did you not have enough time to, Did
you hit up Popeyes for the chicken sandwich? Were you testing all of them? Chick-fil-A too?
And to be fair, Nikola's in his early 20s, and everybody was like that in his early 20s. But look, it's the same thing I said about Embiid.
But look what Joel Embiid. Yep.
Same thing I said about Embiid in the offseason, and same thing for Jokic. Look, Jokic was first team All NBA this past season. Look, my man, if Denver's going to take that next step, you've got to be that guy who is in tip-top optimal shape.
You got to take the step with them.
So that you are the leader and the focal point that can carry them. And that starts with, again, the body. You know what's so interesting? We should probably title this episode the body episode or physical or recovery, whatever.
True.
But listen, your game is based on your physical body.
Yeah.
That is how you are able to perform at an optimal level.
Exactly.
If it is not being taken care of, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I just,
I completely agree.
So, again, I don't want to go overboard on my man Jokic, but I'm like, we're looking kind of funny to start the season.
Hey, we're going to definitely monitor that one. Okay, I like that. And you know what? Just FYI for you guys before I come up with my next What's Up With. I love that Jarod, we have a show breakdown that him and I just throw notes in a doc all week, from the last episode to the current episode. And we talk about things, and he does not put his What's Up With selections in the doc. And I made the stupid mistake of putting mine in the doc this week, and I'm not going to do that. I want you to be surprised.
I hide mine, just because, mainly because I don't want us to double up and use the same thing, right?
We did this week, too. Thank God we talked about it.
And this week we did.
Yeah, good. Okay, now my next one. You're going to hate me and grill me for this one. But what is up with the early MVP selections? Yes, I'm going to get yelled at online. It's too early, this and that. I don't care. I am watching, Jarod. Do you want to know why?
Yes.
Do you want to know why? Because we have year 17, and the king is in week 3.
How did I know this was going to get to LeBron James? Good Lord, have mercy.
The king.
The Wash King?
And you know I'm about to get to that. Don't press me and come for me when I'm in my bag right now, okay? Like I was saying.
The king's been in his bag, I ain't gonna lie.
What? Thank you. Oh, gosh, my emotions. What is up with the early MVP selections? Okay, I said last week on the pod that my guy Kyrie Irving is definitely making an MVP run already, and LeBron James is just as high up on that list, making his statements. Now we're in week 3. He's already on his 3rd triple-double, and he posted, I got to bring it up here.
Do it.
My guy, LeBron, he sent up a tweet quieting all the haters that he is quote-unquote washed. Called himself the hashtag washed Queen. Oh, Queen. Yep, ruined it. Hashtag washed king after he became the first Laker with 3 straight triple-doubles in 32 years. All I have to say is all hail the king. And I did select this because LeBron James is known, especially now in the latter years of his career, for turning it on in the new year, in come April when it really matters. But the king is coming out strong. And he's not letting AD come here and run this shit. Okay?
Woo! Jenna's hot out of the collar.
Boom. That is it.
LeBron's playing well.
And Giannis putting up insane numbers last night against the Clips.
LeBron playing well. Giannis playing well. Look.
Yep. I think it's going to come down to the 3.
The hashtag Wash King is doing his thing. Look.
That's amazing.
Here's the thing.
Washed King.
It is early, though. All right? Talk to me mid-January if he's still doing the same thing. And look, to be fair, these questions were real to have about him because he hasn't played defense in like 6 or 7 years. Seriously, let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. He has not. and he opted to turn it on in the playoffs instead. Okay, fine.
He also called this season revenge season because I
Listen,
think he's been listening to the chatter.
and it could be fair. Look, again, we just talked about how this is a super competitive league.
Yeah.
LeBron is at the ultra top of competitors. He hears what you're saying. He wants to be like, nah, let me show you guys. That's every athlete. But again, Father Time, undefeated. At some point, he cannot keep this level of activity up for a full 82 games plus the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just not physically possible at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
Right? And he's someone who's even meticulous about his body. So LeBron doesn't often load manage or sit out, right? However, he finds his rest spots by doing what? All right, I'm really not going to be playing heavy defense right now. Well, again, what's the difference, right? These guys are figuring out, look, I have to preserve myself because if our ultimate goal is to win a title, I cannot be going all out from game 1 of 82 all the way through because I ain't going to have anything else left. Energy is not infinite. You have a finite amount of it. When it's done, it's done, right?
I think he's coming out early on making a statement,
Yeah,
clearly.
for sure.
mean, with this tweet that we've seen, making
sure.
a statement.
Letting y'all know.
Letting us know what's up. And you know what? I'm glad my king is out here silencing all of y'all. Even my own brother. I almost had to cut him off one day. He's not an LBJ fan. We get into a lot of Twitter fights over that one. So
He was wilding, huh?
he's always wild. And every time I'm praising my king, he comes in trying to light fires up in my Twitter account. I'm like, no, get out of here. This ain't your account. Stay out of here. This ain't your move. All right.
Well,
hit me with something else.
For my final what's up with, it's staying on this defensive theme. Damn, what is up with the Houston Rockets and their defense?
Or lack
Jesus,
thereof.
lack thereof. Third worst defensive rating in the league. Only the Pelicans
surprised.
and Warriors are worse.
Well,
Opponents score 21 points per game off Rockets turnovers. Look,
their offense is blazing, but
Listen,
you can't do anything without defense.
they're playing at a super high pace with the addition of Russell Westbrook. Ooh, man.
And I am loving
But
the
on
addition.
defense, oh, my Lord.
Well, did Russ ever really play Big D?
No.
Exactly.
No.
But PJ Tucker, come on, where are you at?
Listen, PJ can't do it by himself. PJ and Clint can't do it by
True.
himself. Look,
True.
I get it. There's a lot of offensive pressure demands that are put on Russ and on James. But listen, those two got to be better defensively. There's just no two ways around it.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Exactly.
Offer some level of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like, it's hard to do both ends and with the demand of offensive requirements that are put on those guys. But listen, them's be the breaks, right? Like, if your goal is to win a title, defensively, the Rockets got to be better. And right now, they're not. Now, of course, we do know Jeff Bezalik, their defensive coaching wizard, no longer there. He's on Alvin Gentry's staff down in New Orleans. And Mike D'Antoni, never known for coaching defense. Well, listen, this Rockets team is going to be what it is if they don't change it on that end of the floor.
And it is constantly, I feel like every season with the Rockets, they are just missing one key thing. It's just one quick fix.
And think about it. You replace Chris Paul with Russell Westbrook, who many would argue in a vacuum, okay, Russ obviously more athletic, younger, and helps them with their pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what he's not better at than Chris Paul? Defense.
You
right?
know what?
Chris Paul, a much better defender, even at this stage of his career than
I
Russ.
think that I have figured out why, part of what's contributing to their lack of defense.
What's
and
that?
you know what? It's simple, and I can't believe nobody's pointed this out. Russell Westbrook took out his braids. And last game, he didn't have them. The pace, like the wind cutting through. That, I think, is why.
The braids?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the braids.
the
And he was looking good with the braids. You know what I'm saying?
How about now? You don't like this new dude?
It's all right. But, we've been there, done that, seen that. Now he's in red. He's in Houston. Like, let's go. We need to bring Deshaun Watson in here and start leaping over some dudes because people were comparing him to MJ. So, I'm saying, like, maybe a career switch.
Maybe get a little Deshaun Watson in
for
here.
Watson. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what else.
NFL MVP candidate Deshaun Watson.
That is right. He is making a statement. He's one of my favorites, too. I got him on watch. You know what's up. And not to mention, just side note, lifestyle note here. Lifestyle note, I'll step out of here, put my entertainment hat on. Did you know, fun fact, Deshaun Watson is dating DeJounte Murray's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, a little NBA crossover, huh?
Jilly, yeah, like her, follow her. Really good Instagram account. They're actually on vacation right now. I would know because
bye week.
That's what I do. Yeah, and Deshaun just got back from London. But yeah, and now him and her and DeJounte Murray split. But you know what? I like that because DeJounte, my boy, always advocate for him, and he's back. He's back.
I love it.
He
Guys,
needs to be single.
See, listen, listen, on this podcast, on the 7-footers, you get on the court as well as off the court. We got you covered.
I even threw you in another league. Okay.
Listen, we got all the action here.
Exactly. And speaking of more action, I like what you did with this week's quick notes and news
quick notes,
here.
Some bang out some quick things before we get out of here.
First of all, I loved it. Jarod set up all the notes for me so I didn't have to do anything. Great, per usual.
By the way, that happens all the time.
I just gave you the credit. But I like what you did there. You said quick hitters. I like this.
Quick hitters, man. Quick hitters.
Let's start with my guy, the
Your
slow
guy,
grind.
Yep.
IT moved to the starting lineup in the Wizards, and he has been putting up impressive numbers. His starting debut was incredible too, and he said, the reason why I came to the Wizards after he started because they told me we're gonna give you an opportunity, and they did. They kept their word, which he appreciated it because he hasn't had great luck in the past few years.
Listen, let's be real. Danny Ainge did him dirty in Boston. Let's call a spade a spade.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that because IT. I've been a big advocate for him. I got the slow grind T-shirt.
Which again, not to harp on these things, but you fans out there love to cry loyalty for the players. Yo, it's a two-way street, my man.
That's right.
The Boston Celtics front office did him dirty. They just did.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
Anyway.
Very
moving
true.
on.
All right, second one here. Doc Rivers hates the coaches challenge. What is this? What is this?
Because he thought there was an obvious foul call, a flop by one of the Bucks players, by Eric Bledsoe, in last night's game.
Yeah.
And again, that game against the Clippers and Bucks.
November 6th.
And it didn't go his way, and Doc's lost his 2 challenges this year. So he's like, I didn't like it in the beginning. I definitely don't like it now. I don't think we see Doc try another coach's challenge again the rest of the season. I think he's done with that.
Nah. And better news here, we're going to be seeing Blake Griffin very soon because he has been cleared for contact. So hopefully we're going to see him on the floor making moves with his guys out there.
Yeah, listen, Detroit Pistons, they got some injuries they got to worry about. Reggie Jackson's still on the mend. Andre Drummond balling out.
He's balling.
Right? But, this is always early season Andre Drummond. This is what he does. Talk to me again in January. Let's see where he is and what's going on with the Pistons. But happy Blake will be back on the court soon.
Exactly. Another good note here. Our dude, Zion Williamson, is quote-unquote getting stronger and will return, he says, when they let me. As we know, the Pelicans are not rushing their star.
This is the future of the franchise. They want to be cautious. Again, we talked
arthroscopic surgery recovery.
This is the body issue, man. We're talking about players' bodies and their physical health.
That's right.
This is what this issue is.
That's right.
Why would the Pelicans rush him back? For what? For what purpose?
Exactly.
We got to think long term here. Yes, we all want to see the debut, the regular season debut.
We'll see it.
It'll happen.
It will.
They got 82 games. We gonna see it.
Exactly.
It's coming.
Exactly. Let's talk about a few key matchups that we are looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to, man. Like Bucks and Jazz.
Ooh.
I really want to see that game.
I love watching the Jazz.
I like what Utah's doing with Conley and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy and those guys. And 76ers Nuggets. I'm really looking for. I love these interconference rivals, like the East to come West to play these teams.
Yep.
I love it just because. Really, what you're looking at here, these are potential finals matchups, right?
Very true. Very true. And I personally...
Bucks and Jazz could go to the finals. Nuggets and Sixers could go to the finals. It's possible.
I'll say right now, currently, this is just my personal take. I think the 76ers are my most favorite team to watch right now. They're fun. They're really fun.
They are fun. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fight that happened last week between Kat and JoJo. It's old news now, but...
Old news, but dang.
Here's what I will say.
And they play each other on Christmas Day.
Here's what I will say. Kudos to Kat for sticking up for himself.
It was about time.
Well, listen, his rep around the league is he was soft, right? And listen,
he had to do it.
Perpetuated by what happened with Jimmy Butler. But Kat said, you know what? You ain't gonna punk me. Yep. And he stood up to him, and I appreciated that.
And so much for Joel Embiid turning over a new leaf, losing that weight, and not trolling anyone online. He went straight for Kat, and it got dirty.
He is the master troll.
And Ben Simmons, he could put anybody in a headlock for me any damn day. Okay.
JoJo's a master troll. We know this.
Oh, it's great.
We know this. Listen, guys, we love all of our support out here.
Yes, let's take a minute, yeah.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. We're so happy to be on the CLNS Media Network.
I was just going to say, give them some love, because I have to say, you know what? Every single episode that we put up, and we're here weekly now, that's regular season. They're behind us. Their support is great. And, you know,
loving the retweets,
they've
all
been
that.
Great. Yeah.
We're loving it. So listen, guys, rate, review, listen, download, subscribe. Tell your friends about us.
Yes.
You know, we're out here. Comment. Tell us what you want to hear more of and see more
Yeah,
of.
if you don't like something, tell us. You know, we will listen, and we will, you know, take everything into consideration.
And we're working on some new guests coming up soon, so we might have some exciting things for you guys.
I'm gonna I just gotta tease it a little bit.
Yeah,
just like, you know, maybe a former player,
someone who might be close to 7 feet tall,
maybe an NBA champion.
Oh, who could that be? Listen, you got to keep.
We are not telling anything else. I was actually just talking to him today. He said he was looking forward to getting in the Big Apple here.
Love it. Listen,
coming on the pod.
It's gonna be some good stuff. We're gonna have some good conversations, folks.
Very excited for what's ahead, Jarod. This is our season, man.
Listen, it's NBA season, man.
Yes, it is.
We out here in these streets.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't here back. I don't want to trap, what some man gon' do? Chevy told me come through to the spot. Got a little kickback, bring the whole crew. Right around 10, came dressed in the nines. You already know what we really finna do when we pull up on the scene. Pull up on the scene, pull up on the scene. Yeah, we pull up on the scene. See, my life is a movie. Pull up on the scene, did it so smoothly. Pull up on the scene. Mario Kart when I'm out on the road. Only out for peaches and getting that cream. Cash rules, everything except me, nigga. And I like to think that you know what that means. Deep as the ocean with all these flows.